Stockton Police say this is a person of interest in their suspected serial killer case.
Now to the latest on the Stockton killings and the search for a potential serial killer.
Yes, you should always be concerned.
The Stockton Police Department is baffled by the string of killings, and they're now saying it's a potential serial killer or killers.
There's a new serial killer on the loose, and it looks like he's trying to make a name for himself. He has been ruthlessly killing people in Stockton, California, and even though there have been 7 attacks already, we know little to nothing about our killer. Authorities have announced that they're looking for a serial killer, which is someone who kills multiple times. This person has been attacking people through the dates July 8th through September 27th. But they've also released that this killer has been attached to another shooting back in April 2021. It seems like everybody's talking about serial killers because of that Jeffrey Dahmer series, and this guy is definitely showing the signs. I mean, the fact that he killed back in April and then waited an entire year to start this rampage is another indicator that he's got something built up inside of him that he's trying to let out, just like Jeffrey Dahmer. But we're not in Milwaukee like Jeffrey Dahmer. We're in California, which scares me because that's where I'm at. But these attacks are occurring in a town called Stockton. I wasn't too sure where Stockton is, but if you look at the map, it's not too far from Sacramento and San Francisco, so it's Northern California. It does look like this killer prefers to attack men opposed to women, because he's only ever attacked 1 woman, but he's attacked 6 men from the ages 21 to 54. His victims have been white, Hispanic, black, so he's not targeting a certain type of person. It just seems like they're men. Because we're dealing with a serial killer, the FBI have been called in, and there are 2 ways to categorize a killer. One group includes individuals who target specific types of people, like Ted Bundy. He was fixated on dark-haired young women. Then there are other serial killers, like the one we're talking about today, who seems to utilize a hunting ground for their attacks. This is a common technique by, I guess, a bunch of serial killers who pick a region and they go back to that region over and over again to commit their crimes. Geographic areas offenders identify, become familiar with, and then utilize to attack potential victims that enter into those locations. For example, like a national forest. That would be a great one, I guess, because there's really no one around. So when someone comes about, you just take them out. And what's scary about the Stockton killer is that it seems like he's using a small region in this town to commit these murders. 5 of his killings have occurred within a 3-mile radius. Every attack occurred after nightfall on dark, quiet streets. Let's take a look at a map of Stockton and where these killings are happening. So they're labeled 1 through 6 because keep in mind the 7th killing was kind of an oddball, which we'll talk about in a moment. But down here at the bottom, there's the 1st killing, and then we've got the 4th all the way up at the top, and that seems to be about 3 miles away from each other. So not far at all, especially if you're in a town like Stockton, because it's not like a super busy town. Like, for instance, California, like 3 miles, like you're going to be in the car for like 45 minutes an hour. But here, it's probably about 10 minutes or less away from each other.
Criminologist and author Dr. Scott Bond says there is less and less time between the recently linked cases, and that is concerning.
I hate to say this, but it's very likely that he will kill again in the near future.
We don't know what the motive is. What we do believe is that it's mission oriented, right?
Some of these people were homeless, and others were also wandering around at all hours of the night. So he may perceive them as being homeless. So he may have given himself a mission, for whatever reason, to rid the city of homeless people.
So the killings are getting closer and closer to each other, which worry authorities that this person's going to pick up speed. That expert brought up the idea that this killer could be targeting homeless people, which I found interesting because we don't really know a motive here. So that could be one if this person I guess, really hates the homeless people and believes that they are the person to fix this. But there's no denying that this person has a dedicated area that they feel comfortable committing these crimes at, which could be somewhere where this person lives, where they work. I mean, they must go there often if they keep coming back to commit these crimes. And it seems like they know the area well because they're bouncing around all over town to take out people. A 1998 study found that 86% of 126 American serial killers analyzed fit this pattern, which means that this person could be working a late shift. They could be getting off of work and then just, going on a joyride and killing people for fun.
The hours of the victims being shot suggests that he worked, so that he used the night and the early morning as his time to look for victims. And we would suspect he lives in that area.
I guess these people are experts for a reason, because that's smart thinking. I mean, if you're going to try to figure out where this person is, maybe, include the idea that they could be working here, and that's why they're here so late. But you guys might be wondering, if we don't know much about this man, then how do we know that he's connected to all of these killings? And it turns out that the police have been able to connect these 7 shootings by using ballistics evidence. So they were able to look at the gun that was used and put it all together. What is bizarre, though, is that there is one shooting that doesn't necessarily fit in with the rest, because back in April 2021, more than 70 miles away from the other crime scenes, there was a shooting in a residential area at 4 in the morning. They ended up finding a 40-year-old man dead on the street, and it turns out that this man was killed by the same person, or at least the same weapon.
Detectives released surveillance video for the first time, and police confirm the cases have been linked through ballistics. Stockton Police say this is a person of interest in their suspected serial killer case.
I want you to pay close attention to the uneven stride that this person has.
So the police claim that they do have video surveillance of this killer. They don't share how many video clips they have, but they have released one. And they bring up the fact that this person walks with a limp and has a very, straight posture. I mean, at one point, the authorities brought up that he was standing very straight and had kind of maybe a little limp to his walk. I don't know if those characteristics are enough to identify a person, but they are putting out a reward for any information. Now, we need to talk about one of the victims, because it's the only woman, and it happened 6 days after that 40-year-old man was killed 70 miles away. Unlike the other victims, this woman is the only person who survived her injuries, and it looks like the only woman to have been targeted. This survivor has been able to give us some information about the killer, like the fact that they wore black clothing, had a black face mask on, kind of like a COVID mask, and they shot her multiple times. She described her shooter as an unknown race male, which that sucks. I mean, we don't know if he's white, black, Hispanic, or what. They seem to be about 5'10" to 6 feet tall with a slim build. On the day of the attack, he was wearing a dark colored sweatshirt with a hood pulled over his head, dark pants, and a black face mask.
Stockton police have tied at least 7 shootings to the same case, 6 of them deadly. One woman survived being shot. She was able to give a description to detectives. They say the person is between 5'10" and 6 feet, wearing all dark clothing and a dark COVID-like face mask. Robbery, gang, and drug activity have all been ruled out, but police say the connecting motive is an intention to kill.
What's interesting about this survivor is that it doesn't seem like she was necessarily targeted. I mean, I do believe that he likes to go after men. So she actually heard some noises outside and decided to go see what was going on. And that's when she was shot. So she was just at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Some I spoke with believe that she may have not been a target. Those are some of the experts that I spoke with believe that. The police chief even said that she heard someone walking around her campsite, and when she came out, a gun was pointed at her, then fired. She went to defend herself, and the shooter stopped. Dan, Amma, now back to you.
One of the scariest details about these murders is the fact that it doesn't seem like they're robbery or gang related or drug related. These people aren't being robbed. Their items aren't being stolen from them. So whoever's doing this is finding joy or motivation and just quite literally taking their lives.
Stockton Police do not have any information at this time on why these individuals were targeted, and there doesn't appear to be any motivation for drug or gang-related activity. In fact, the only thing connecting all of these people right now is the fact that they were alone when it happened and it was dark.
So really, it doesn't seem like there are any men who are safe out there in Stockton. And I would be super careful because, I mean, there's someone who's clearly out here trying to kill people, and they're not slowing down anytime soon. I mean, lately they have been getting a lot of press, so maybe so. And it does seem like the authorities are starting to step up their game. They're warning people to be careful when walking around late at night.
Killings came up at Tuesday night's Stockton City Council meeting.
I want to remind people to be careful.
I don't know if there's much more we can do, but to continue talking about the situation. My heart goes out to those victims and their families. I cannot imagine what they're going through. It is so disgusting and selfish of this person to go and take their lives. Like, who gives this person that power to do this? And that's why there needs to be justice here. So if you're in Stockton or going to Stockton anytime soon, please be careful. And I'll see you guys in a new video soon. Bye, guys.